times and was quite popular in Europe around the 14th century. It wasn't until the early years of the 19th century that Americans began to enjoy Shakespearean plays, dancers, and musical acts all in the same evening. Town halls and churches offered polite, genteel entertainment, while the saloons and brothels provided more risque, lowbrow displays. After the Civil War and the westward expansion, seekers of entertainment could find dime museums filled with acts and exhibits meant to amaze, while a few traveling circuses toured the countrysides. Medicine shows offered dancers and musical acts, while taking their salves and tonics. Several Wild West shows sprang up, including Wild Bill's Wild West Show, providing romantic vistas of a disappearing frontier. They featured music, dramatic acts, trick riding, and shooting demonstrations. Vaudeville would take the best of these shows and incorporate it into one stable, institutionalized form centered in America's growing urban hubs. The Industrial Revolution gave birth to a whole new class of citizen, one with time and money to spare. In the 1880s, Tony Pastor capitalized on new spending power and sensibilities of the middle class by offering polite variety programs in several New York theaters. Hoping to attract the uptown shopping crowd, he banned the sale of liquor in his theater and eliminated all the questionable material in his shows. It was Benjamin Franklin Keith that really made vaudeville what we know it as today, and is often considered the father of vaudeville. Keith opened the first vaudeville show in Boston in the 1870s in the lavishly state-of-the-art Bijou Theater. After huge success at the Bijou, Keith opened a network of theaters throughout the Northeast, supported by the Church of Boston. As his network grew, other managers like S.C. Poley, Claude Erlanger, F.F. Proctor, Marcus Lowe, and Martin Beck followed suit in their respective cities. To keep a grip on their growing empire, Keith and Albee established a network of booking offices called the United Booking Artists. Soon after, they consolidated their hold on vaudeville with the establishment of the Vaudeville Managers Association. Between the two organizations, Albee and Keith held a virtual monopoly on vaudeville that marked entertainment's first step into the world of big business. Vaudeville was the first step in making the entertainment industry what it has become today. Love it or hate it. The keystone to vaudeville's success was its universal appeal. Dignified enough for the upper class, accessible enough for the poor, entertaining to all. Lavish theaters with fine carpets, chandeliers, and high ceilings echoed the great palaces of Southern Europe, more than the standard theater of its time. Exquisite spectacles from entrance to egress, vaudeville emitted an air of refined sophistication that even the average worker could afford to indulge in.
Benjamin Franklin Keith and his partner Edward Albee revolutionized variety entertainment and tailored it to fit perfectly into the pulse of surrounding city life. The idea of the continuous performance meant that the theater was always open, 12 hours a day. The continuous performance opened vaudeville to wider audiences than previously possible, catching tourist traffic, catering to workers, changing shifts, and placating the upper class that found themselves with an unprecedented amount of free time. The lively daytime atmosphere reassured audiences who Keith saw as hesitant and always offered something for everyone. The policy dominated vaudeville for more than 2 decades and was standard in most theaters around the country. Of all Keith's influence over vaudeville, none is more defining of his brilliance and his relation to the audience than the show format designed in the early years at the Bijou Theater. Specifically tailored to invoke a constant interest from his audience, while at the same time giving the illusion that the show had always just begun. Each cycle of the show would start with a dumb act, a mime act or a single dancer, an act without sound that a restless audience could enjoy despite the surrounding noise. This would be typically followed by a dance of some sort, usually a tap dancer or a belly dancer, something with lots of noise to gather the audience's attention. Then they would follow with some comedians, physical acts, one-act plays. These were replaced by motion pictures, and in fact the first motion picture ever shown was presented in a vaudeville show. After the picture show, they would pick up with some more dancing and music, and would top off with a famous act. Then would follow some almost bad acts to clear the house, and the whole loop would start again. This format seemed unbeatable when paired with the continuous show, and together they built vaudeville into a burgeoning empire that lasted into the early years of the 20th century.
evening, well, not evening, but good day, ladies and gentlemen. We are pleased as punch to be here at this amazing convention. We've seen some amazing things so far.
I'll say, like the women, I never knew there were so many perks to corsetry. Wowee!
That's not exactly what I meant.
But that's what I meant.
Okay, well, anyway, we're here to talk to you about some of the people we knew back in Vaudeville.
Ah, the good old days. Packed houses and lavish theaters.
Yeah.
Not quite where we used to be, Ted.
Nothing like it, Charlie. We made many friends of some fine performers back in the day.
Ah, yes, like Harry Houdini, Danny Kaye, Irving Berlin, Bob Hope.
Yeah, sure, but not everyone played the Palace, you know.
Ah, but everybody who's anybody had to play New York's biggest theater at one point or another.
Not true, not true. Not everybody who was anybody. There were lots of people playing the circuits that had influence. Take a look at Joan Davis.
She's here?
No. I mean, look at what she accomplished. One of the highest paid leaders in the business.
Ah, right, yeah. Yeah, something like that. She's good.
Yeah, one of the highest paid women in network radio. She made almost as much money as us.
Oh, now that's impressive. She must have made a fierce cup of coffee.
Come now, Charlie. She was quite the influential lady in her day. She ran shows way up through the 1970s.
Fantastic. I'm sure her mama was proud. You know, there is one lady that sticks to my mind.
Oh yeah? Who's that?
Maggie Klein.
Yeah, I can see her striking a tone with you. Another funny lady. The songs she used to sing had them in stitches.
Yep, funny broad.
She would do well today, though. A lot of comedians making movies, playing themselves. Unheard of in our time. You know, if you want a lot of personality, there's always the Hilton sisters.
Paris and Nikki?
No. The Hilton sisters were Siamese twins that played the Orpheum circuit. Remember them?
Ah, yes, I had a night with them in Chicago that would make
Well, now, Charlie. How about Ned Harrington and Tony Hart? Remember them?
Ah, yes, weren't those the guys with the mulligan guy? Good boys they were.
They sure were. Their songs and skits were always enjoyable. Inspired by the plights of the poor, they gave the upper class a look at what it was really like on the other side.
Yeah, right. Like I said, good boys, funny chaps. You know, something. Can't read it. You know, all this chit-chat has me thinking about our old act.
Yep, Charlie. You know, not everybody made it into movies and radio like we did. We were lucky, Charlie.
Yeah, for us, the radio made our act better.
Oh yeah, and how's that?
They couldn't see your lips move.
But you know, we do have one man to thank for all of this.
You're welcome.
Good. No, not you.
No?
No, W.C. Fields.
I wouldn't thank him for dying.
Okay, but if he hadn't ruffled your feathers, we never would have been famous. It was that bit you did with him on the radio that got us our big break.
Ah, that's right. We did that bit, quite a bit, didn't we? How'd it go again?
Well, Charlie McCarthy, the Woodpecker's pinup boy.
Ah, yes. Isn't it the man who keeps Seagrams in business?
I love children. I remember as a wee toddler toddling around from room to room.
Yeah, when was that? Last night?
Oh, quiet, Wormwood, or I'll whittle you into a Venetian blind.
Ooh, that makes me shudder.
Hey, is it true?
I see what you did there.
Oh, okay.
He's the slow one in the room.
He's got a genetic predisposition to these jokes.
I heard that your father was a gate-legged table.
If he was, your father was under it. But you know what? Pink elephants need aspirin to get rid of you.
Step out of the sun, Charles. You may come unglued.
Mind if I stand in the shade of your nose?